Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to This and That Reviews, and my name is Elliot, and I compare movies to other movies, and everybody in the comment section has been begging for me to go and watch this movie and do a review. You guys have all been commenting like, oh my god, you have to go do a review for Smurfs. Like, we need to know your opinion. And if you're watching this, 50 years in the future when this channel is actually popular, know that whenever this video was posted, and every previous video before it, I have never received a single comment on anything, and I currently have 4 subscribers, so none of this matters. But I just love the idea, like when YouTubers say that in order to justify something weird that they're doing. Like, they're like, like, all of you asked, you all begged me to do this, and I'm doing this for you, the fans. I watch bad movies all the time. I watch movies. I created a YouTube channel to review movies that I basically have no subscribers on. And every single video that I do has like 0 views. And I do it for me. I do it for me. And I have to keep reminding myself that I do this for me. I do this so that I could have a log of random movies that I will definitely forget tomorrow that I even saw. And this is one of them. I will not remember this movie 3 days from now. A month from now, you could say, you could remind me that I saw this movie, and I'll be like, oh, right, I did see that movie. I'm starting to find, as I watch more and more movies, and I have this channel to talk about my thoughts on movies, I was going to say the exact same thing that I've said to another movie that I just recently reviewed. I can't even remember which one, because again, like I said, probably gonna forget it. But I definitely did. I'm definitely going to do the exact same review that I did for a different movie. And it's that this movie it's not terrible, right? It's not like I didn't walk out. I didn't have any urgency to walk out. There wasn't a part of me that, you know what's funny? A lot of people love Talk to Me. And that is the most on the phone in a movie theater that I've ever been. There was nothing in Talk to Me that was interesting. Every single scene in Talk to Me felt like, oh, okay, I know what's going on. I'm going to look at my phone until this is over and something different happens. Oh, wait, no, I know what's going on here. Okay, I'm going to continue looking at my phone. Oh, okay, now I know what's going on here. I'm going to continue looking at my phone. Like, that's what Talk to Me was. And there wasn't anything here that made me feel like that. And it's an hour-and-a-half runtime. And so each plot point moves pretty quickly to the next plot point, and it keeps you interested in the way that it's supposed to for a little kid, and that worked. And that worked to keep me invested the whole time. Like, I was constantly watching the screen. I mean, I looked at my phone a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, I was constantly, things kept changing to where I kept being invested. But that's not to say that the movie is good. To say that the movie I didn't walk out of the movie, that's a step up. But that's not to say that the movie is good. The problem with this movie, and that's one of the reasons why I went to go see this is that I am waiting for my girlfriend for next week to where she can come down and see, because I've been holding off on movies, knowing we're doing a long distance relationship and she's driving into my town and we're gonna go see Superman and Fantastic Four, but I wanted my first experience to be very excited and to watch it with her. So I have been not watching Superman, and then today Fantastic Four came out, and I'm like, I can't watch Fantastic Four, but that means that other than I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was last week, I haven't seen a movie since Jurassic Park Rebirth, or that slew of movies that were all very generic. And so I just wanted to go to the theaters again. Being a person that watches movies every Thursday, on the dot, new movie come out, 2 new movies come out, I watch them both, to not have seen these big blockbuster movies that everybody is talking about, You know, like if you didn't see Megan 2.0, it really doesn't matter because nobody cares. If you didn't see Jurassic World Rebirth, nobody cares because it was bad, right? But to not have seen Superman and Fantastic Four is killing me. So I was like, I need to go see a movie. And so Smurfs is that movie. And this movie is just a series of events. It's a series of events that happen in chronological order, and then it stops happening, and then the director yelled cut, or the person, computer animated, he let go of his mouse and he was like, we're done. That is what this movie is. It is a series of events. Now let me give you an example of a scenario. And it's just a rom-com, right? And it's two people and they meet and they're like, hey, I think you're pretty. And then the other person goes, I think you're handsome. Do you want to go get coffee? And they're like, sure. Where should we get coffee? And then they say, there's a Starbucks over there. Let's go to that Starbucks. And so then as they're walking, the person that says like, oh my God, I love that we work together, and I've liked you for so long. And then the other person says, I know, isn't it so cool that we have worked together at that company for 5 years and yet we've never talked to each other until today? And then the other person says, oh my God, that's so crazy. And oh, we're here at the Starbucks. How about you get me a coffee and then, I'll go get us a seat. And so then the other person, they say 2 cups of coffee, please. And then they go back to the seat, and then he sits down, and then they say, oh my God, thank you for the coffee. And then the other person says, I'm so glad that you got us the coffee. And then she gets kidnapped, right? Like 2 men come out and they kidnap her, right? And they just drag her away, throw her in a van, and they are off, right? And so then the guy is like, oh my God, what's happening? I have to call my friend. He'll know what to do. Frank, meet me at the Denny's. And so then it's him, and he gets into his car, and he's driving really fast, and he gets to the Denny's, and he parks, and he runs into the Denny's, right? And then Frank is there, and he's like, hey, Frank, I'm over here. And he's like, hey, Bill, how are you doing? He's like, not great. My girlfriend just got kidnapped. And I thought that you would know what to do because you're in the CIA, and you've been in the CIA for the last 10 years. And he's like, I do know what to do. I have a friend. His name is Jim. We should call him. He'll know what to do. We need to go to to his house. He lives in Paris. And it's like, okay, let's go book a ticket to Paris. And they go to Paris, right? Nothing is happening. Like, there's a lot happening, but it's all plot points. It's just characters talking about the next plot point that is supposed to happen. And then something happens that it triggers the next plot point to happen. And then at a certain point, it just ends. And I'm finding that this kind of movie, in all forms, is incredibly bad. And that's what this movie is. And this movie is not unlike Captain America: Brave New World, or a lot of Marvel movies, just in general. Just generic movies that where they don't do character development, that there is nothing to hold on to. It's just a series of this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then the movie's over. And you can be entertained about the things happening. Like, there was a car chase in that movie that I was just describing. There's a high-speed car chase. He had to get to the Denny's, man. There was like, he had to dodge out of traffic. He had to dodge some cars and, right? There was a whole scene of him dodging, right? And then the girlfriend got kidnapped. That was crazy. It was great. At a Starbucks. Who knew? That was crazy, right? But there's nothing to hold on to. And if your whole movie is based on plot points to get to other plot points, and that's it, and that is the most interesting part of your movie, it's just the action that is happening, because there are no words, because all the words are you getting to the next plot point, then it's not interesting. Now, the best example that I can give you to where this isn't always the case. If you're thinking to yourself, this is always the case, all movies are plot based, all movies, it's about characters talking about going to the next thing, right? The best scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once is two rocks talking to each other in subtitles because rocks can't talk. That's one of the best scenes in that entire movie. And as I was watching that moment in theaters with a crowd of people, I was shocked how well that scene works. How compelling that scene is. And there's no way for me to explain that to you in an out of context way. Because it's a great scene, but you need to see the movie. Because everything that leads up in that movie to getting to that scene makes that scene that should be stupid and not work at all really compelling. It's two rocks talking to each other in subtitles. You are reading a conversation between two rocks. That is not a scene that most filmmakers would put in their movie. Because you need to have action. You need to have you need to get to the cool next set piece. Think every Transformers movie you've ever watched, right? But that's not what makes a movie compelling. That's not what makes a movie interesting to watch, or it's not a thing that makes a movie memorable. You're not gonna remember that movie. You're not gonna remember. You might remember Jurassic World Rebirth for the scene, everybody's talking about the riverboat scene with the T-Rex. That's a cool scene. That's a movie that is all based on scenes. It's a scene-based movie. Let's get to the next scene. That's probably what the thing was. It was probably Jurassic World Rebirth that I was comparing it to, because that is a movie of scenes. It's, okay, now we have to do a Mosasaurus Spinosaurus scene. Okay, now we have to do a Titanosaurus scene. Okay, now we have to do a Quetzalcoatlus scene. Okay, now we have to do a T-Rex scene. But we need to get there. So let's have the characters talk about, we have to go here because of this reason. Who cares? And you'll remember the scene, maybe, at best, but you won't remember the movie as a whole because it's not anything. It's not, there's nothing there to hold on to. I think at best, this movie is basically Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in a lot of ways, a whole lot of ways. When you get to the end of this movie, it is literally just Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But the problem with this movie is that everything is just plot based. Every conversation is let's get to the next plot piece. Let's get to the next thing. Let's get to the next thing. Now we introduce this thing. We introduce these characters and they are saying go over there. And now we introduce this character and he says go over there. And so we have to go over there. And that's all this movie is. And because of that, that's what makes this movie bad. And it's not what just makes this movie bad. It's what makes a lot of movies bad. When there's nothing to hold on to and nothing for you to there's nothing for you to grow out of. There's nothing for you to see, gain anything out of. I'll spoil this for you. The main character is James Corden, because the main character is not Rihanna, which is funny to me. The main character is James Corden, and he is no-name Smurf. And throughout the movie, he pretends to have magic, even though he is specifically told that Smurfs don't have magic. You find out that they've been doing the Ratatouille, where he has a magic book on top of his head or underneath his hat the whole time. He has had a magic thing underneath his hat, and that's how he's been doing magic. And in the final act of the movie, he realizes he can actually do magic, and he becomes Magic Smurf. That's not That's not plot. That's not character development. That's just magic in a lot more ways than one, apparently. Like, that's being disguised as character development. There could have been an idea that they kind of touch on, and I thought that they were going to go this way, and it made me think of Encanto. In Encanto, Mirabel also doesn't have magic. And at the end of the day, she doesn't gain magic. She just understands that she is the glue for the family. Like, she doesn't need magic. It's not like she ends the movie and all of a sudden now she has magic. She realizes that she's the glue that keeps the family together. And essentially, that's kind of what No Name Smurf is. I feel like Smurfette does that a better job at that. So maybe they could have but Rihanna, you gotta give Rihanna something to do other than sing. See, that's another thing. The songs aren't offensive. An offensive version of a song, Scuttlebutt. Look up Scuttlebutt from Little Mermaid. The new live action Little Mermaid. Scuttlebutt is an offensive song. That is a song that when it's playing, you're like, oh my God, what is this children's movie? None of the songs in this movie I felt were offensive. Maybe forgettable, but I don't think any of them were bad, right? And then the other route that you could take is that you just do pop songs, just, generic what's on the radio pop songs. And they didn't do that either. There are 3 songs in this movie. It's 2 from Rihanna, 1 from James Corden. I didn't even think the James Corden song was that bad. And so, yeah, the songs are, if anything, generic, but they're not bad. They're not offensive. And I feel like the problem with the movie is really just that it doesn't have anything to say. There's an idea that No Name Smurf he's trying to figure out what he does, what he is, and what he becomes is just not something that he ever had. It was something that was given to him. He says oh, I wish I could be magic, but that's not really a thing, right? In the same way that I could wish that I had $1 million, but that's not character development. If I just suddenly realize, after losing my fake fortune, right? Let's say I was gifted $1 million, right? And then, at the end of my journey, after I've foolishly spent all of my money and the IRS comes to take it back, I realize, oh my God, I have a fortune. I have $1 billion. That I didn't know about. I am rich. That's not character development. That's not anything. Character development is the idea that he doesn't need it. And that's a more interesting version of that. It's the idea that, him being a no-name Smurf is more interesting, that he doesn't need a thing. But they're no, we got to give him a thing. And so he's Magic Smurf and he just can do Doctor Strange shit. And so, the idea that is the only thing to latch onto, because if you're going to latch onto anything, you're latching onto a main character and their journey, right? If you've ever seen Ugly Dolls is another comparable, wacky, nobody remembers this movie kind of movie, right? The idea behind Ugly Dolls is kind of like Monsters, Inc. University, right? It's about this doll who believes that, she can be better, that she wants to become one of the pretty dolls, so that, that they are the discarded ugly dolls and that they need to be better, right? They need to be pretty so that they can be adopted and, bought and be and love people, right? Love children. And she finds out at the end of the movie, it's that she is pretty and that her uniqueness is what makes her unique. It would be like if at the end of that movie, she does become pretty and all of a sudden, she just morphs into the pretty doll. And that was her superpower. She did this entire journey to become pretty, and then at the end of the movie, she becomes pretty. It's that's not a lesson. The lesson of, oh, there's nothing special about me. So I'm going to use fake magic the whole time thinking that it's mine, realize that it's not mine, but I had magic all along. That's not... It's frustrating. It's frustrating that that is the only job that you had to do as a movie. And you couldn't even do that. The only thing that you had to do was tell people that maybe you can just be you. You don't need magic. You don't need to be anything. He didn't need something. Everybody has a thing. I get it in this world. Brainy Smurf, Vanity Smurf. Not all of the things were even good things. Vanity Smurf. They're not even all good. Clumsy Smurf. They're not even all good things. It's not like everybody has like this great thing. Maybe he didn't need to be anything. He could be Unity Smurf. Maybe he's just a leader and he unifies everybody. He has the ability to bring everybody together. But to make him Doctor Strange Smurf is just the wackiest choice. To make him like the coolest Smurf ever, he's actually just the coolest Smurf ever. But yeah. This movie is not bad, but it's definitely forgettable. It's just a series of plot points to get to the next plot point, to get to the next plot point, and that's it. And then the movie's over, and you will not remember this in 3 days.